Hello, it's your old buddy Tim, and I'm coming to you from the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be exact. We got a cruise ship just coming in alongside us. And yes, I am indeed at work. So why am I at work putting a video up for the SVP channel? Well, we've got a lot going on here, and in the next few days. I've got something so crazy. I need to get the boat from New England down to Florida, and I've only got a short amount of time to do it, and we want to do it in a way that I've never done it before, and all of that's going to be really, really tricky. So stick around and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is SV Paquita. Come along every week as I get this island packet ready to hopefully someday cast off the lines for the last time. I come from a background of being a lifelong professional mariner, and I've had to make the adjustment from doing that to living life on the recreational side. We've just come back from Puerto Rico, and then we spent the summer up in the Gulf of Maine, and now we're going to take the ICW down to Florida and hopefully spend the winter in the Bahamas. So come along with us every week. I think you'll like it. Okay, so I figured I would get my trusty little tablet out and kind of give you guys a look at what the plan is. Now the plan is crazy, and it's probably the odds of having this work are very minimal. I am continuing my mistake that I always make, and that's that cruisers should not make any plans. They should go when the weather's good and they should enjoy stuff, and unfortunately that's not something I can afford to do while I'm still working. So while I'm still working, I have a 3-week window of my off time to do things, and in this case move the boat from Watch Hill, Rhode Island to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The thing that makes this an extra tricky thing is that I have to do this, or that I want to do this, part of it through the ICW, the Intercoastal Waterway. This is something that I've never done before and something that I've always wanted to see. And but well, let me just kind of show you what I'm doing here. So if I zoom in on the chart here, incidentally I should tell you that I'm trying a new charting program, and you'll see why in a minute. Normally I use Navionics, and I have a Garmin charting program on Paquita, but this is something called Aqua Maps, and it overlays some of the data of the really shallow areas in the from the Army Corps of Engineers, from when they surveyed it. So anyway, let me just get to what we're doing here. So if you look over here, this right here is Rhode Island. This is Connecticut, Long Island Sound here. The boat is basically on the Connecticut and Rhode Island line, and I need to sail it all the way down here, and all the way down to Norfolk. But I should tell you before I do that, I'm doing that with one of my friends, Gary. Gary is somebody I've known for a long time. He had a whole career in the military, working as an MP. Right now he's retired, and he does a lot of fishing, but not saltwater fishing. He does a lot of the tournament bass fishing and stuff like that, and he's always wanted to do an offshore passage. So he's going to come along for the first time, so that ought to be interesting. Hopefully he won't get seasick, but he's a fun guy to have around, and so I'm looking forward to that. The other guy that is going with me is a guy named Mark, who is a patron, and if you don't know, all of my patrons, I should say that when I'm sailing different places, patrons that want to go sailing contact me, and if it seems like it's a good fit and it works for their schedule and my schedule, they're more than welcome to come with me. So although I've never met Mark before, he comes with a whole bunch of sailing experience, and that ought to be fun. We did this before. I've done this before with Ian, if you remember Ian, and Ian has turned out to be a lifelong friend from that, and Chris as well. Chris was another one that we did that well with, and Chris was even on the We were trying to even get Chris back to do this one with me, but he was busy for this one. But anyway, if you're wondering why Crystalina's not coming with us, she is a beautician, and beauticians probably all over the world, but definitely in New York City, get really busy towards the holidays. And so women have to look good, and they have to go see her to do that. And so her taking 3 weeks out of the busiest time of year would be very tough for her. So she's only going to take 2 weeks out of my 3 weeks off. So the first week she's going to miss. Okay, getting back to where we are. So we're over here, and we have to get about an 18 to 20 hour sail slash steam. I say steam, that's what we call it when we're under power here on the tugboat. I don't know if they did say that on sailboats or not, but anyway, about 18 to 20 hours will get us to Hell Gate. And to get a fair tide, I can't get there before 8 in the morning. If we leave on Friday, we can't get there before 8 in the morning on Saturday. So we'll be adjusting speed or even going to anchor so that we get there. And if I get there before then, it just means that I'll just be fighting and burning fuel, and it just doesn't make sense. It makes sense to go through with a fair tide. So then we come through the East River, Hell Gate, and all that sort of stuff. Actually, you know what? I don't have that one downloaded because I know that one by heart. But anyway, we'll come through New York Harbor and Sandy Hook, and we should be able to do all that under the same ebb tide, so that should be really good. And then we're going to sail down the coast, and hopefully, I say hopefully, we'll see what the weather does, but hopefully we won't be motoring. Hopefully the wind won't be on the teeth and it won't be too rough. But we'll come down the Jersey Shore, come down continue to come down, and you see these things that are greened out. Those are the charts that I've downloaded. So let me just try to, it's not doing that. I was hoping that, no, it's not going to do that. Okay, until I zoom in, it's not going to make that go away. But anyway, we'll come into Norfolk. So then, a list of charts, here we go. I don't need that. How do I get rid of that? I don't want to download any of these charts. Why is it saying that? Look at that. I just messed that all up. Hang on, let me bring this back. Okay, here we go. So, the plan is to arrive sometime on November 7th in Norfolk and go to anchor somewhere around Hospital Point. Then the two guys will be getting off, and Chrysalida will be getting on, and my engineer lives in this area, so he's going to be providing us shoreside support. So the next morning, like right at about 6:15 or 6:30, we have to take off. And the reason why we have to do this is we got to go through a couple bridges and all that, and you can see us coming through here. But when we get all the way down here, we're going to go through and turn into the Dismal Swamp, or turn into the beginning of the Dismal Swamp. This is where you can start seeing all this color. Let me zoom in here. This will show you, you can see the feet, where it shoals up. And although it looks like you would expect it to look, here, other cases, there are places that it doesn't. So the line, this route that I have isn't, we wouldn't follow the exact route. We do this mostly for timing, so we'll know what time we'll get to different locks. So we have an 8:30 lock that we have to get to. So we get here, and we've got to get there. The reason why we have to leave at 6 in the morning, 6:15 or so in the morning, is so that we can get to this lock when it opens. Then when it opens, she and I'll go through the Dismal Swamp, and now you can see it gets really tight in here. That's not a whole lot of water. So this is saying 5.9 feet. So hopefully there won't be a log in the way, and hopefully maybe it got some rain, and hopefully we won't get stuck. People tell me that many people run aground or hit logs on the thing. The good news is that Paquita has a full keel and a protected propeller and protected rudder, so hopefully that will we won't run into issues. But apparently the hazards are not just below the waterline. Now here's an example of, you can see where the chart has water going all the way to the edge, but if you look at the overlay of this red and orange, you can see where I basically have to be right down the middle, or I'm going to be aground. So and those colors are dependent on what your boat, you know, the particulars of your boat. So I want to stay in the lighter colors, you know, not the reds. But anyway, if we get through here, we got to go all the way to the end, to the next lock. And this ought to be this is something, like I say, it's something that might be difficult, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to. Now, when we get down here, you can see, oh, no, it's still pretty tight. The area is very broad here, but the area that I can go is right in that tight little channel right there. And I'm using something called Bob 423. He has a whole bunch of routes that you can use. He does not go through this dismal swamp, so I can't use him until later. You'll see some blue dotted lines here they have. But anyway, Dismal Swamp Canal, here we go. We're continuing to go. And the idea is that we get to the next lock by 4:30 in the afternoon. Then we get through that. And I have to get all the way down to Elizabeth City. And hopefully, oh, here we go. Getting right to the end, right about. Alright, here we go. There's a number of free berths over here that you can go to, and if those are all filled up, because it will be probably about 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon by the time I get here, I can go to this anchorage and then motor over. And the reason why I have to motor over is that my friend Rick, you may have remembered Rick from other videos. Rick will be joining us from there. That he'll be flying into Norfolk, and my engineer will be driving him down. Then the next morning, and so let me just, if I click on this, it should tell us. Here we go. What you just saw there is 44 miles. We should be able to do it in about 8 hours, and it should take just about 9 gallons of fuel to do that. So that's what we're hoping for at any rate. The next one that we do, we start off the next morning, and we go, and you can see we have a much more room to maneuver. We're out of the Dismal Swamp, and we're coming down, we're getting around now we meet up with the Bob 423 tracks. And this is a guy that goes through here all the time. He gives tracks. He says just stay on his line. As long as you draw less than he does, you'll be fine. Hey, you know what? I don't know. I think I was starting to say something, but I might have got sidetracked. We don't only have to watch out for the obstructions under the water, but going through the Dismal Swamp, the trees are so tight, you have to watch out that you don't get the mast stuck in a tree that might be hanging over the river as well. But that shouldn't be an issue here. And we'll come down here and go through. I'm just going to zoom out here so that you can see. I mean, so the next day I'm saying that we come in somewhere around here and anchor, and it's the Alligator River National Wildlife Reserve, somewhere in there. I should be able to drop the hook for the night, and then the next day keep coming. And basically I'm going to just zoom out so you can see where we're kind of coming. This is all coming down to Cape Hatteras. See right here. And so we're coming down all around here, and we're doing about 40 to 50 miles a day. And it's very important that I have to do that. And when it gets tight, apparently if there's somebody that's going ahead of me that's only going 4 knots, there are a lot of places, as you can see, that I wouldn't be able to pass them. There are other places where I might be doing 6 knots, but somebody might fly by me at 10 knots. So it is what it is, but we'll keep coming down, stopping every night. And then when we get down here to Charleston, this right here is Charleston, South Carolina. And my idea, we'll see how this plays out, but if everything goes to plan, which is a huge if, probably never going to happen. We have to count on the weather being right. We have to count on no navigational errors, we don't hit any obstructions, we don't hit anything above or below the water line, bridges open on time, there's nobody slow in front of us. If we can get down to Charleston when we want to, we have to pop out then, because we're running out of time. Because this is like 10 days, 12, 14 days in, whatever it is. And we would come out into the sea, provided the weather is good, and start sailing 24 hours a day. And that's where we can really make up some time. And basically almost do a straight line right for Jacksonville. And the reason why we're doing it in inshore as opposed to offshore is that the Gulf Stream will come up and away, and we don't want to counter the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream could slow us down by 2 or 3 knots, and if we're only doing 5 knots, it would only, that would really hurt. And not only is the Gulf Stream less the closer you get to the coast, but you also sometimes can pick up a counter current and actually gain a little bit there. So we'll continue that all the way down till we get to Fort Lauderdale. That's the hope. If all of this goes as, like I say, as planned, let me see what this says here. Yeah, that outside thing is 426 miles. So if we can do that in 77 hours, it would take about 85 gallons of fuel if we weren't able to sail it, if we had to run with the engine the whole time. Hopefully we wanted to run with the engine at all, but it's nice to have these numbers in there just in case. And remember, we hold 160 gallons of fuel and 250 gallons of water, so hopefully we should be good on all of that till we get there. But if everything goes well, I think I even have, I have day 11, and that's day 11 that we've been going, but we've already burnt out some days, and I only have 21 days total. So the way it would end up, I'm hoping to get into Fort Lauderdale on Sunday night or Monday morning and having to fly out the next Tuesday morning. So if there's a problem, if I'm running behind schedule, or there's a problem with weather, there's a couple things I can do. I can try to find a place to ditch the boat, and what I mean by that is I'm going to go to a marina and make a deal with them to tie up the boat for a while. The problem is that's extremely expensive, and it's a place that I don't really know, and then there's the expense of having to get there. If I'm in the middle of nowhere, I might be 3 hours from an airport, and that's going to be a whole big deal, getting one-way tickets for people to get there and that sort of stuff. But then there's also, you could spend as much as $1,500 just to tie the boat up for the 3 weeks that I'm away. So it's really imperative. And then not only that, I've already paid for the slip that's in Fort Lauderdale that's waiting for me. So these are all the reasons why I want to get down. But if it looks like I'm having trouble, I can get out. See all these right here? You can see how these waypoints are all tight over here. Anywhere after Hatteras, I can pop out numerous places over here and start sailing 24 hours and pick up another day if I have to, or maybe even 2 days if I had to. So that's always an option. Of course, I say it's an option, but it really defeats the purpose of why I'm doing this. I've never done the Intercoastal Waterway, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to do. And as far as where we stay and what we see and what we do, well, that's going to be another story for another time. You're going to have to tune back in and see another video for that. So hopefully you'll come along, and hopefully you'll see all this, and hopefully this will be something that you want to see. You guys, thank you so much. Just a short little update of what's going on. This is, by the time you guys see this, it'll probably be happening in real time then. So wish me luck. And for those of you that want, you can follow me on AIS. And I will not have any of you that were using the Predict Wind tracker for the satellite tracker. I don't think I'll have that on because I don't really need it on, because I'm not going to be offshore. You have to pay for it every month. So you should be able to follow me on AIS the whole time and see how we're doing. You can follow me in real time at TimB@Sea at Instagram. I'll put a link down below. And you guys, thank you so much for watching. You can support the channel by joining our Patreon page. It's really the TimB@Sea Patreon page, but we'd love to have you. They're the people that support this channel, and they do it through the other pages. Instead of having 2 different accounts, we have one. I'll put a link in the description there for $2 a month, or as much as you'd like to give. You can help with the production of these videos, and hopefully they'll get better. Anyway, you guys, thanks again for watching. Take care, be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one.